Ah! Here we are, going live.
Hello, and welcome.
Yes.
So if you notice us looking all over the place, there's several different screens. We're talking to all kinds of different people today, all over the world. Here locally, we are so blessed and lucky to have this opportunity to come to you with some really exciting information today and share with you our hearts. That's really what it's all about. It's just sharing our hearts and our love for humanity and our love for what we do. So,
And it's wonderful that we get to do what we love. And what we love is being of service. And we have a lot of talent between the two of us. And that's what we do. We do what we love. And we want other people to do that too. We want other people to share their gifts and their talents. And we're going to help you get that way. So here we are today.
So if you are just joining us, if you're joining us live, let us know by letting us see where you're from in the chat. If you are here with us from all the way across the world, or if you're here with us from Edmond, Oklahoma, which is where we are broadcasting live from, we would love to know where you're from. Let us know why you're here today, and just let us know what you would like to share with us, that we can maybe answer some questions. We will try and pay attention to the comments, but we're going to just jump right in and tell you a little bit about ourselves and then tell you a little bit about what we're doing. So don't forget, put a smiley face, tell us where you're from, and tell us what you're here for.
That's right. And if you can't do that, sometimes that happens. Well, how do you get that? People don't know how, or computers do what they do. Don't forget, you can message us too in all of the posts. I mean, we're on Instagram, Facebook. Cassie's probably in a million other ones because I'm an older person, don't know it all. I learned it all from her.
So I did put on my YouTube page, I have all of my handles. So if you are following me on YouTube, you can go ahead and find me in my other locations there. If you can't find Janice, who's my mom, you can reach out to me and I will give you contact information. So,
I do have a YouTube connection through my singing. Well, we only have so many gadgets to do certain things. I am going to, though, put these recordings on my YouTube, so it's available. And also I'm going to be putting it on my webpage too. And I'm sure you will too.
Yes. Yes. So welcome. Today we are talking about an important topic, relationships, not only relationships with other humans, but also with ourselves and with food, with your living space, with your job, with just really anything or anyone that you can have a relationship with. Your dog.
Yes.
I mean, everything is important.
Yes.
So
with your computer, I'm not very good about that.
No, the affirmation is I am excellent with digital technology. We're teaching our subconscious that we are capable of anything.
That's right.
So let's just dive right in, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay.
And then I'll jump in after you're done.
Okay. Well, I'm 28 years older than she is. That's when I had her. So I have a little bit above her, but even when she was 3, we drove up to the house and she said, "Mom, have you ever hugged a tree?" I learned so much from her. It's like, no, let's get out and do it. So we did. So I've learned a lot from this woman for so many years. And that's what we're talking about, is relationships. We did a live a couple weeks ago. That was, what was the title of it?
Starting over.
Yeah. Mother-daughter starting over. So we are creating a new relationship, and there are so many facets to relationships and to health. I mean, relationship is about being healthy in mind, body, and soul, and that's how you are going to create relationships to health in the sense of eating, exercise. It's like health is many facets, and so that's why we're here today. So I want to talk about my story. I actually was in a relationship 2 years ago that I actually took a leap of faith to jump out of. I didn't have a job. I was in a marriage that fully took care of me. I didn't have to have a job, so that was, again, a leap of faith. When I did that, I felt like I just dove and I didn't even have wings. And I actually wrote a book, flying without wings, I think is what it is. Soaring without wings. And that was a while ago, so that's why I didn't remember it. But anyway, so in that relationship, I let go of it, just boom, it's time. I walked out with all my stuff, and I realized all the people in my life, which I was very heavily into my church, they opened their doors. So for 9 months, that's like birthing, I grieved over what I thought that relationship should be, and realized that it was mine. I have a relationship with me. So that was the start of me realizing this is my relationship with me, and that's really all I have. And then having a relationship with somebody else is like icing on the cake. But you do have to nurture that. And I don't really like to say, to be open and be healthy in that. If there's something sticky going on, then go ahead and do that. So I made some notes here. In that time that I was in the homes of my friends, I realized how many blessings. I thought I was being a burden on people, and I realized all the blessings I did have in my life. And then I met my coach, Priya, and I said yes. I didn't even have to think about it. My decision was, yeah, I want to be in this. I like what's happening. And Bob Proctor, for 60 years, created this program. I'm in PGI, Proctor Gallagher Institute, coaching program, and I'm one of their coaches. And now I am in Kathleen's, because I watched her go from the time that she started with Priya, really, and how fast she moved, and she just opened the door, her spirit just soared. And that's, I want to know her secrets too. So that's one of the reasons why I'm in this program. But my background is actually spirituality. I got 39 years of spirituality underneath my belt. And this one actually showed me structure to how to be in my life and how to teach it to people. And I study every day. So I always feel like a student, but I am also a facilitator, a teacher. I am a teacher, but I like to say I facilitate, because Bob's the one that really helps with the programs. You learn a lot from him. And also that I'm here to devote my life to be of service to others, because I want to change my life. I want other people to change their lives, and I want children to grow up in a healthier environment as well. I should have watched my time on this.
Well, I want to ask you a question. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
So what is it that drew you to the want of something more? Was it because you didn't feel like you were enough? Was it because you were going through a breakup? A divorce is very difficult. And I think it takes us down to the bottom of, being depressed and not having a home and just kind of floating out in space. What was it that made you realize or made you want to have more? What was it? Because you felt like you were at the bottom? What was it that drew you in? There's my meditation reminder. It's important to meditate.
Yes, it is.
I hope it doesn't pop again.
Well, it might. So just know that she meditates and she's, oops.
I'm on a calculator. Here we go. We're all over it.
Well, I'll answer that while you're, okay. Well, actually, I've done, like I said, 39 years of working with myself, and that's also counseling too. And I did a program, the Hoffman Institute, and that actually gave me the strength at that time to move forward, to make that decision. I'm going to do this. I actually went to the program before I left, and that actually gave me the strength. I saw that I desired to love myself enough to move on out of that relationship, that it was toxic. And I'm not going to go into details, but I have lots that's in my life. And also, that wasn't, a full bottoming. It's like over this time I've been in this program for about 1.5 years, I have bottomed out and never felt that. But it's like what this helps you do is to, I think you just keep going lower in yourself, not necessarily into the poo, but there is, greater, grander things within yourself that you get to experience too. And sometimes you have to go through the poo to get to that. So it gave me the things I've done so far has given me the strength to go through the hard times, or what I believe that they are. And this is really a belief program.
11:11.
Yes.
Sorry, I just saw that.
I don't know about anybody else. 11:11 is spiritual. Yeah. For years we've been doing that. So,
I'm going to jump in and tell you a little bit, because I guess mine might be a little different from hers. My whole life have struggled with depression and anxiety, and I would definitely say I am a happy person. I always thought that I was the light that walked into the room, and I've always felt that I had something within me that was here to offer to other people. So when I show up and I'm in groups of people, I'm always showing up with the light and the love. And when I don't, it just doesn't make me happy when I don't grab onto that joy. And for me last year, so I had a baby. I'm a mom of 4. I have a stepdaughter who's almost 27. I have 2 boys who we adopted through foster care, and that are now almost 13. And then I have a biological son that I birthed about almost 4 years ago. And I went through postpartum anxiety. I went through postpartum depression. I overtook a huge body change. So I went from being a dance fitness coach who taught 12 classes a week to not moving at all my entire pregnancy, because I had a very high risk pregnancy. I had had 7 miscarriages, struggled with infertility for 12 years. And all of a sudden, here I am with a baby, and I was told to be put on bed rest. And I was like, working out and doing things for myself is what kept me healthy, what kept me sane. And I didn't realize it until I was pregnant, and then my hormones changed, and I was carrying this life, and nothing else mattered but this little life. And after he got to this earth safely, I quickly realized I had done a lot of damage over that year, the 10 months of being pregnant. It really does a number to a woman. But what ended up happening was my postpartum, I really didn't believe it was a thing. And so the more depressed I got, the more I pushed it aside, thinking it was just a phase. Oh, it's just because I need to start exercising. It's just because I had an excuse for everything. And I didn't realize that really it was my relationship with myself. I had trashed what I had built prior to the pregnancy, and I had incorrectly attached how I looked externally to how I felt internally. So when I didn't look how I felt mentally, it was showing on the outside, because I now didn't look the way I felt, so nothing linked. And we can talk more about that, but I got to a place where the depression was so bad, I didn't really see any point in life. It was like my only point in life every day was to get up and take care of the kids. That was what I was doing. That was serving my purpose, or so I thought. And the more I just survived, the worse it got. And I think a lot of moms struggle with this, and no one talks about it because it's embarrassing, because you don't want to admit that you've gotten yourself in this deep, dark hole. And now you've realized that motherhood is not this beautiful thing that everybody tells you it is. And now you're depressed, and you think it's because you have done something wrong, or at least that's what your subconscious is telling you. And so when COVID hit, so fast forward to 2.5 to 3 years later, COVID, well, I'm not supposed to say that word. Fast forward to 2020. I was going to even write myself a note, but come to last year, and I really was on a good path, and then we got shut down, and I got put back in my box, and it was like, I just can't get out of this box. I just keep getting trapped. And so I ended up getting shingles. All these things just kept happening, and I finally realized I had to do something to change it. It wasn't up to anyone else. I was going to have to get out of it, or like, this is how my life was going to be for the rest of my life. So, watching my mom go through her divorce was really hard, watching her struggle and the highs and the lows. And like she said, it's like there's this growth process. And so I watched her go from being really, really depressed to all of a sudden having all this desire for more life. And it was like, and in my head, she's telling me things, and I was like, these are illogical things that you think you can do. And I didn't realize it was because of how dark and how deep I had gotten into my own depression that was limiting my imagination. My creativity was basically put into a box, taped shut, and put in the corner. And so hearing someone else, it was like somebody like peeled up the tape on the box and then like let a little bit of light in there. And my creativity was like, let me out. I'm trapped in here. And so that just that little breath of watching someone else have a want and a need for more was what, and it gives me goosebumps because it's like, I reached out to her even in the mindset of not thinking I deserved more. It was like, well, if she can do it, I can do it. Okay, I'll write every day. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. It's like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I just knew I didn't want to be depressed. I didn't want to be anxious. I literally had to come to a place in my life when we were quarantined. I had the constant play in my head over and over about if I got in my car and drove anywhere, I was going to get in a car accident. It's illogical. It doesn't even make any sense. And I knew that. And so it was like, okay, this is not normal to think every time I get in the car that I'm going to get in a car accident. So of course, what do? You go to the doctor. The doctor says, well, take these pills. Let's just fix it with a pill. And I was like, and I'm not knocking that at all because I do believe that people do need medication. If that's what you feel you need to do, I'm absolutely supporting 100%. If that's your route, I did it. I know many people that have done it. Sometimes we need the assistance. It's just like having a coach come in and want to assist you.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I reached out to her, it was the only safe relationship that I felt I could tell someone wholly and completely and be honest and say, I'm in a dark place. And I didn't even really tell her how dark it had gotten. I just was like, I'm miserable. Everything that came out of my mouth was misery, misery, misery. And misery loves company. So what happens when you're speaking about the misery? That is what you attract into your life. So when I had that little opening, the little tiny light, opening that box in the corner, that was God's opening, his door is what I like to say. Is like, he sent my mom in through that little light. It's like, you can ask your mom. And I shut the box back up. And it was like, you know how that goes? It's like, you think you're ready for something, but then you're like, not really. So you're like, we'll just take that. We'll just come back to it later. So for me, that was what it was about, is like seeing someone else who I watched struggle, because I saw probably more than most did. And it was like, if she can do it, then I can do it. And obviously, she's my mom. Try to say it again. I'm going to try and stop it. I think if I just turn it off. There we go. Okay, I think we're good now. But because she's my mom, our relationship had always been me watching her. Well, how did she do it? How did she deal with this? Well, how did this happen? It's like she was always my lifetime path. And so it was like she was doing something different. So that relationship to me was like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I knew where she was at. I knew her enough to where I could just sit and listen, and then, just doing that, holding space. That's what a facilitator does too. Coach is to allow you to, and you feel supported in that time where it's like, okay, you get to really look at that terror barrier that you're facing and finding out that it's not that scary. And then you feed them tools. Here, look.
Well, and I think it's so important too that we talk about that window, because had I not decided that I wanted something different for myself, it was going to go on the way it was going on. So it's like, even if you have someone in your life that comes to you and they've opened a little crack of light, and you all of a sudden have this feeling of excitement, of joy, decide quickly to hang on to it, because it is really up to you to make that choice, to choose to want to hang on to the joy, because that's really what it's all about, is being in that present moment. And it's like grasping onto anything that's positive and joyful and brings you happiness as quickly as you can. Decide, this is what I want.
Yeah. So put a thumbs up in the comments if you can relate to this. If you want to give us a few words, put some words in the comment, and we'll get back to you about.
Well, and tell us your story.
Yeah,
I mean, we would love to hear anyone else that has struggled. Even if you're a man and you've struggled with depression, it's not just postpartum. It's not just women who have had children. I know I feel like a million women who have struggled with infertility, and that creates depression. I know women who don't have any desire to have children, and people give them a hard time of that. And that creates, there's so many things. And really what it points back to is society and what society says our relationship should be with ourselves, with our spouse, with our coworkers. And it's not up to society. It's up to us. It's up to you and me to decide what we want for us.
Yeah. And what it is we're responsible for our own actions and our decision. And it comes down to making a decision. If you're not making a decision, then you have confusion, you have procrastinating, you just live on that edge, and that's always creating dis-ease in your body. That's health, your mind.
Yeah.
So what we like to do is call it a mindset. You're changing your mindset. It's an opportunity to grow.
Well, and I want to talk about that because the mind is so important. A lot of you that follow me know that I do dance fitness. If you follow me on YouTube, you probably have followed my dancing. If you are here on Facebook, you probably know I do a plethora of cooking, dancing, everything. I just want to come to, have you ever felt like, man, I lose 7 pounds, I gain 7 pounds, I lose 7 pounds, and you're just like, there's this window, right? That you just keep staying in this window and you are just feeling stuck. And it's like, well, why can't I lose more than this amount? Why can't I get past this? It's all in here. It has absolutely nothing to do with your body. Yes, I realize that there could be hormonal things, or could be, you're eating. It could be a plethora of things. But what it boils down to is there's something stopping you because there's some belief that you have told yourself that you are unable to do this, or you can't lose the weight because someone put that in your head. And so that's the story you've been telling yourself all this time.
And it boils down to having a gratitude practice. Because you can change anything. The impossible is possible in this work. The universal laws are huge, and it's like I just opened up another door, but we're not going to go down that. That's one of the things that we teach is you can change a disease, cancer, whatever. You can change anything in your life. And I have stories about me. I was raised Christian Science, and so I had a healing I can tell you about at another time. We want to keep this short. We will be having more master classes, and we have different talents. Like Cassie is very good about the cooking and the exercise, and I have my own exercise for elderly women. But
she needs to stop saying. Does anyone else give me a heart or a like? If anybody else needs to say, stop referring. They're not old. Oh, see, Sarah knows, right? Is that okay? Give me a thumbs up if it's Sarah. Is that how you say it? Sarah
or Sarah? I looked up on Google yesterday and heard it 2 ways. Sarah was one of them.
Sorry, we got somebody over here. Yeah. But I did want to go back to that disease though, because really disease is caused by worry. And we say dis-ease. I know the word is commonly pronounced disease, but it's dis-ease within your body. Worry does not serve you, and worry comes about by fear and doubt. So when you're doubting and worrying about things, that creates fear, and fear is what creates disease. And so the way that we remove that is the faith in knowing that anything is possible. Both she and I have a relationship with God, and whether you do or don't have a relationship with God, this doesn't matter. What matters is that you can change whatever you want as long as you have the belief, and it doesn't have to be there's a certain way, but it's
you just make the decision for that desire. And at the end, that you're choosing your end desire, and that in between, that unknown space, it's not our job.
Right.
We just go ahead and do that. So during that space, it's gratitude for what you do have, even if it's not in the picture yet. Everything that you get, you feel it's in the having, it's in the gratitude.
Holding it. It's like even before you have it, I don't know how many times. I could tell my very first baby manifestation of money. It seems really silly when I hear other people's stories of them manifesting like $300,000 and manifesting a Lamborghini. But my $58.10 will forever be my memory, and my cheesecake. I manifested those two things in one day. And all I did, she said, my name is Socorro Arias. My username is my maiden name and married name spelled backwards, Arias Moreno. So Socorro, that's right. I remember that now because I sat on the patio and she was talking to me when you were in Costa Rica. So really, I don't remember what I was talking about. See, I shouldn't have read it. I do that all the time. I have squirrels everywhere.
I did a squirrel
This is
with
why
her.
focus is important. So
It
focus
is.
focus, holding the focus for that thing you
What
want.
you think about, you bring about.
Yeah.
What you hold in your mind, you hold in your hand. And the way I look at it is you're walking around in your mind. So what you're seeing is what you're thinking and believing. So what do you want to think and what do you want to believe?
Well, think about this. Have you ever sat somewhere, like let's say you go out to dinner or you're on your way to dinner and someone pops in your mind and you're like, oh, I wonder what they're up to. And next thing you know, you're thinking about them and what their life might be like right now or why you haven't talked to them in so long. And then you run into them in the restaurant or in the store and you're like, well, I was just thinking about you.
And further on, it's like, oh, I've been looking about, starting this business up. And that person says, oh, I've got the funding for that. Or I've been looking for somebody, it's like the doors just open. If you go with that universal law, the law that says, hey, I'm willing to give, but you're thinking that I got to do this, I got to do that. So the law sits back and says, well, go ahead and do it if you think you can do it.
Well, and to take it a little further too, is like the important part of that decision making is the circumstance of things. You can either choose to allow things to happen to you, or you can choose for things to happen for you, because it really is all about what do you want? And that's what we're here for. We're going to tell you today that if you want to be able to move forward in your relationship with yourself, with other people, work, spouse, family, kids, fitness, health, body, if you want to move forward, we have ways that we can help with that. And we will be doing a lot more of these free masterclasses just because we're so passionate about this information and people who are ready to make the leap and ready to decide. We would love to jump on a call and just share the vision with you, just help you kind of move forward and see what it is. Maybe you've never even sat and dreamed. I know when I first was asked, because we both went through the same program, I went through it with her, and I remember it asked me, what do I want in my life?
Everybody does that.
What? And I don't know how many people, I even had a conversation with my dad. Well, a month ago, we went for a walk and I asked him, I was like, well, what do you want for your life? What do you see yourself doing when you're retired? And I know he had thoughts. I could see the wheels turning, but it was like when someone asks you what you want, you go, I don't know. And then some people think, oh, it's material. They want to know, oh, I want a new truck. I want a new house. And that's okay to want material things. But when you really start digging deeper, what's in your soul, in your heart? What is it that you're really, that's that passion that I was talking about. When you're in those places of depression, it's because you're not being used for your soul's purpose.
I want to tell you about a story in the Way of Mastery. I do this every Monday night, and John Mark Hammer is the conduit of the book, of being Jesus through the book. And he talked about, what do you want? And what was brought up was, I want 47 prostitutes. And so he says, now I want you to write it every day. And so he, this person wrote this, and then he realized, by the last day, he says, you know what? I really just want a meaningful, loving relationship. He's so hungry for it. He'd take, if I get what I want 47 of them, but not really, So this is the work. You maybe do want all of that stuff, but maybe you find out that you really want to come from your heart. You want to feel peaceful and joy, and then all these things will come to you. And then by the time you get that Lamborghini, you might go, yeah, it's cool.
Well, and you have to think about too, who you've been hanging around with, who your top 5 closest people in your relationships within your world are going to be represented out into your life. So if you're hanging out with people who want to have prostitutes, that's what's going to show up in your life.
Twice to me. Yeah, I'm single.
But it's so true, because I don't know how many times I've hung out with people and come quickly to realize, I wouldn't say how many times. It doesn't happen often. I typically do attract the people that I want in my life. And more often than not, I have great, super amazing relationships. But what I've come to realize is if those people are unhealthy in their mind and unhealthy in their mind or their heart, I start to pick up those habits. I start to go, oh, but I'm learning now that I actually get to be that person for other people. I get to be the one that says, well, don't you think you could look at it this way? Instead of just going with the crowd, because that's what they teach us from early on is like, everybody line up. We're all going to lunch at the same time. Everybody go out to recess, get on the swings. You're going to swing at the same time.
We're going to color this
This
paper
one
and
page.
in the lines. Don't
And
be doing anything creative. Just stay in the
And I'm not
cows.
knocking school. I think that school is fantastic. I am so grateful for public school. We're not saying that. But what we are saying is
We
that
want to add to it.
we just think that kids, this is where it starts. We want them to be able to express themselves and be able to be creative, because that is how people get to the moon. That is how people create electric vehicles. I just am using Elon Musk for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He's in my
He's gonna
brain.
Go to Mars, Elon Musk.
Right.
But we should probably start, coming down on this. But I wanted to mention that we do want to work with kids, and we've worked with her 2 13-year-old sons, and
Almost 13.
yes, next week one of them.
Yeah.
So we want them to know the value that they are, and they're coming into that temporary insanity, the testosterone and stuff like that. And we want to have those seeds in there for them to master their testosterone and their temporary insanity. I mean, it's like we all have gone through it. We're trying to experiment with life. So,
well, and also it's like we have also seen how quickly they shift.
Mm-hmm.
So they're so much easier and so much more pliable right now, but to both directions. Because when we have a bad day, or if there's things that are just off, or the 3-year-old screamed a lot today, maybe I have less patience, I immediately see it in my kids, immediately.
The whole space.
Yeah.
Even, the dogs at times barking more, needing more food. Right now, I'm hungry now. It's 2 hours before we eat. It just comes out. Energy is energy. What kind of energy do you want to reflect?
Right.
So we want you to, I had some quotes here too. So just drop a comment, it's like, say, I have a burning desire, and tell us what that is. Put an emoji in that comment, and we'll message you and give you a call back. And we have 2 programs. If you're interested in more, then keep watching. And if you're interested now because you feel all the things that we've done, or maybe that you've got your own and we want to hear about it, message us. We will get back.
And we are open to doing consults too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our biggest thing is we want people to start realizing that there's more, because the more people that we can talk to about this information, the better off our world is. And so we know that just by having a conversation with you, it allows your creative juices to start flowing. It helps us. Sometimes we even have a collaboration out of that, because of, it's like, oh, well, I was thinking about this, and oh yeah, that's perfect. And that is how things are created, is people being interdependent, not dependent, but interdependent on each other, because we all have different gifts. Even if we were all teaching the exact same material, it's going to be different with every person, because each person is unique.
Right. And if you know somebody who this material would resonate with, that they have that, like-minded people, this is it. The community here is awesome. That's a whole nother conversation.
Well, and I did have a quote that I wanted to share.
Okay. And then I'll share one, and then I think we should close it down.
Yeah.
And
I agree. Do you want to go first?
No, you go ahead. I want to see which one I
Okay. So, I think this is the one that I was wanting to use.
Okay, I do.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. You are not what you think you are, but what you think, believe you are. You are not what you think you are, but what you think, and I put believe, you are.
So mine is not similar, but they're all they all have that same knowledge behind it. So the one that I'm quoting from is the book, How to Own Your Own Mind. So I've been looking for a new book to start, and I had this one sitting in my I was like, why am I not just reading the ones I already have? I asked people, and I'm going to read some of those books because some of those actually sounded really good. But I also, I'm reading for pleasure this come around, because usually I don't read for pleasure. I just read for increasing my mind because
Give to
I'm addicted.
others. Well, and we love to be of service.
Yeah, but I believe the more you feed yourself, the more your mind is always growing and
It's never
expanding.
ending.
So this one is from How to Own Your Own Mind, and it's a quote by Andrew Carnegie, which I know all of you are familiar with. Carnegie, Carnegie Hall created so many different things. So he says, the power with which we think is mental dynamite, and it can be organized and used constructively for the attainment of definite ends. If it is not organized and used through controlled habits, it may become a mental explosive that will literally blast one's hope of achievement and lead to inevitable failure. So basically saying, if your mind is not organized, if you're not controlling the thoughts and creating the habits that you want, you can either have mental explosive where you just lose your on everybody all the time, which is where anger and frustration and fear comes from. Or if you can have organization, it can be mental dynamite, and you could just blow off the world. I mean, you could have amazing creations and collaborations and just so good.
Don't let anybody tell you that it's wrong.
Or that it's
not right.
Or that it's not needed. Because anything that came to your mind is a gift from God. Mm-hmm. I love to laugh, it says. We didn't laugh at all, did we? Oh, we laughed about prostitutes.
Oh.
We did.
I'm glad I brought something really entertaining in.
So you have the choice, and don't ever let anybody tell you that something that was an idea, even if you think it's a silly idea, talk to someone about it. We will listen. We love to hear people's ideas because it's so cool to have people realize their passion, and we love to be a part of that. So.
Okay, so I want to end on one more. That one was by Brian Tracy, the one that I said. This one is, if you think, and I add believe, because thinking is also the believing aspect. If you believe you can win, you can win. Faith is necessary to victory. That's William Hazlitt.
Well, and on the other side of that, if you think you can win, you can also believe that you can't win.
Yeah.
That's a thought too. Right, but I'm just saying, you hear those people use that quote all the time. Mm-hmm. If you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can.
Sounds like Peter Piper. Let's figure out when to do that.
If you think you can, you can. If you think you can win, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be that. Yeah. So we are so grateful, and we appreciate you so much for joining us here today. There will be more of this, not necessarily always together, but we'll definitely be doing some lives together, and we'll be doing some separate. So if you...
My Facebook page is called The Art of Success, and
mine is called Mastering a Winning Mindset.
Okay, so if you want to join those groups, then mine is private. Did you make yours private, or is it?
Mine is private, mainly because I have a lot of people who want to sell me things. Mm-hmm. And I don't mind buying. I would love to be sold to, but there's a lot of things that I'm not interested in.
Yeah, and we can pick and choose.
Yeah.
That's creating our life, and we want to help you create yours.
Yeah, and this is purely, our Facebook pages are purely for helping people and serving you guys so that we can share. We love this information. We want to share it with everybody that we meet because it's so important.
And the programs that we have for us, one we're creating, the other one is the Thinking into Results. We do that together, and we do that separate as well.
And if you're interested in that, we are running a special today only. Mm-hmm. There is a special going, and then there's also, I think on our mini programs, we're running a special, but we have to look at our notes and see. But if you're interested, let us know. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah. Okay. Have an awesome day. Today's Tuesday. Tuesdays are always great. Mm-hmm. It's like a Wednesday, the hump day, but it's Taco Tuesday. Are we having tacos?
We are. I got out bison so we can make tacos tonight.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
We had to close all of them down.